Ahoy, everyone, and welcome to, probably should have thought of a name for this show. We'll just say we're going live to talk about the state of Disney Cruise Lines and, most importantly, Disney's newest ship, the Disney Wish, here at Laughing Place. My name is Doobie, co-founder of Laughing Place. Below me is my wife, Rebecca, the other co-founder. How you doing, Rebecca?
I'm doing well, honey.
And over there, yes, I got it. Over there is, gee, it's harder than it looks, isn't it?
It's not easy, clearly.
is Beci. Beci, introduce yourself, please.
I'm Beci Mahnken, and I am the CEO, president, and founder of MEI Travel and our specialty division, Mouse Fan Travel. And
Awesome.
there's Becky's in the house, and I'm also.
There you go.
And Adventures with Beci and any number of other things.
Yeah, exactly. Just pick something. I'm happy to go along because I'm dying to travel again.
So Beci is the official, Mouse Fan Travel is the official travel partner of Laughing Place. We've been with them for years now and extremely happy, as they always say. Why not use them? They don't cost one dime more, and yet they take such good care of you. They have taken such good care of us many times. So we highly recommend Beci and Mouse Fan Travel and our whole team over there. And like I said, we're proud to be associated with them. And so when it comes to talking about cruising specifically, because there is no better vacation than a cruise, specifically a Disney cruise, of course you want to get Beci on here. So there's a lot going on with COVID and cancellation and such, but looking forward to the debut of the Disney Wish, which is where we're going to spend most of our time talking today. But let's start off with just the state of cruising in general and the state of Disney cruising specifically, considering our current situation.
Well, I will tell you, I am more hopeful today and in the past few days than I have been for 8 months or 9 months or 12 months. It's wonderful to finally see a little bit of motion with the CDC and what's happening with cruise lines. As you know, the CDC did put a stop sale for any cruise lines going out of the U.S. ports, which put a damper on our love for cruising. Recently, however, well, actually last October, they said, here are the conditions for the cruise lines to earn a conditional waiver so that they could actually sail from U.S. ports. They started that in October. And it was just a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, that dam finally burst a little bit. And it came up with 2 paths to returning to sailing. Now, most of you have probably also heard that there are ships that are sailing from the UK and from Nassau and from St. Martin. It's because they aren't governed by the CDC because they are flagged from a different country and they're not going to US ports. So that's what the cruise lines did. They stepped in and said, okay, fine. If we can't sail from US port, we want to get back to cruising. We're going to, at this point, cruise lines, Disney hasn't announced this yet, but others have, the ones that are sailing in June that are coming up, that they are going to require everybody to be vaccinated. So that kind of put people at ease to go back on a cruise, which I'm very excited because I'm going to be on one of the first ones going out of Nassau on June 12th. And I feel very good about that, given that everybody's going to be required to be vaccinated. Everyone's going to be tested before they get on board the ship, and they're going to be tested again before they leave to get back on the airplane to come back to the US. So at this point, the CDC said, okay, here are your 2 paths to returning to sailing. The first one is you have to acknowledge that you will have 98% of your crew and 95% of your guests all vaccinated, and they have to prove it before they get on board. Easy peasy. Promise to do that. You can get people on board and you can sail right now. The other path is going back to what you've probably heard as being the test cruising. I'm not sure what the vaccination percentage requirement is going to be for that path, but it's definitely lower than 95 and 98%. However, they have to go through a series of test sailings going into various ports that they have contracts with, proving that they can handle an outbreak if one does occur on the ship. So there's not a repeat of what occurred in Japan with one of the ships when it all started. So of course, with Disney Cruise Line, the first path of having 95% vaccinated is difficult because you can only vaccinate your kids from 12 up. So that's a very small percentage in the other pile. So we're kind of waiting to see what path they're going to take to get everything restarted. Hopefully
Well,
that makes sense.
no, that makes total sense. And I appreciate that. And that is a good point because it's very easy to say, 95% vaccinated because, fine, you don't want to vaccinate, then it's just not time for you to cruise. But
Right.
as long as you're willing, go. But because vaccination is still limited for the younger folks, that creates some complications. So,
Right. And once again, Disney has not said how they're going to handle this yet. Even the cruise lines that have stated that they're going to require vaccinations, it's only for the short term. So they're not saying it's going to be forever. They're not saying it's going to be into next year. They're simply saying right now, as we work our way back to whatever our new normal is, they're going to require vaccinations. So
and I think it's also not a surprise that Disney is not the first to jump in this water. As we've noted before, Royal Caribbean relies on cruises, Carnival relies on cruises. Disney has a bunch of places to make money. They can let everyone else iron out the kinks, and then they can re-enter once they're sure they're not going to damage their larger brand by
right.
having the cruise that never comes home.
Right. And it was really encouraging to see that they are going to restart, that Disney's going to restart in the UK with that round trip from the UK for only UK residents that are vaccinated as well. So they're kind of giving it a couple of shots across the bow, literally, to see how this is going to work for them. And I'm sure that those protocols will be put in place when they start looking to coming back from US ports. The other thing it got exciting too about sailing, we haven't heard about Disney from this yet, or some of the other cruise lines have announced, but just yesterday, the PVSA, which you might have, people talk about it as the Jones Act, but it's not the Jones Act. That has to do with the ships themselves. But the PVSA is the passenger version of that act, which requires that a ship stop in a foreign port between two US cities. So that's why Alaska has been on the hook at this point, because no one, or we haven't been able to go to Canada because Canada's blocked US ships or ships at all from stopping in their water. So there was no way to conform with the PVSA or the Jones Act. So just yesterday, the House and the Senate, over the past few days, finally passed the bill to lift that restriction. So now the cruise lines can sail from Seattle direct to Alaska without having to stop. So that's been the crazy that we've all been in, and we've been waiting for DCL to tell us.
Not aware of that. That's pretty huge. Someone want to put that in LP articles to do, because some people may wonder why cruises always go to a foreign port.
Yeah, it's a law.
They have to.
It's a law from like the 1800s that stays in place, but it's to protect labor in the U.S. because if it's a foreign flag ship, they're required to take this other step. So there are reasons for it. It's just a really, really old law. And when you get into a situation like this, where the only way that sailings can happen from Seattle to Alaska would be to overturn or to put this law on pause, is what they've basically done at this point. And I'm so thankful for that, because think about all of those cities in Alaska and all those people and all those tourism jobs.
Sure.
This would have been 2 full seasons without having any revenue, which just breaks my heart.
And that's an easy thing to forget. Obviously, you want to keep everyone safe, but there are a lot of foreign places that rely on tourism in general, the cruise industry specifically. And we're not talking about places like America, where there's a safety net and ultimately almost everyone is still going to eat and sleep. We're talking about places where it's the difference between eating and starving. So not to get political, but it might be worth a tiny risk to get out there and try to help these places. But I will leave it at that. I did want to mention, because I can't believe I didn't say this, but today, this show is the debut of Laughing Places Skycopter. Rebecca's coming out of. So we appreciate her doing that. What's the traffic look like down there, Rebecca?
I see lots of children on swings and lots of Nerf wars occurring off in the distance.
Thank you for that. We'll come back to you later for another update on what things are like out at.
Sounds good.
So let's get on to what we're really excited about, which is the Disney Wish, which
it's here.
I probably shouldn't be. I don't know if I want to brag, but I just found out I'm going to be on this cruise next June, and I'm so excited. But anyway, the Disney Wish debut. Oh, we have Beci. I'm not even going to go through all this garbage. Let me just hit the right button here. Sorry about that. Beci, when does it sail? When can you book? Tell us all the basics on the Disney Wish.
Well, I got to tell you, the past few days or this week has been the opening for the pre-booking for those platinum guests. So platinum guests are those who are or who have sailed with Disney Cruise Line for 10 or more sailings, right? So Disney did something unusual this time. They tiered the opening. So those lucky people who have sailed 25 or more times, their booking window opened on Monday, May 17th. So, man, it's been a busy day getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning on my coast because I'm on the West Coast to help grab people those cabins, including mine. 20 plus came out on May 18th, 15 plus on May 19th, and 10 plus on May 20th. Today is our breather. We kind of got to sleep in a little bit because next week is going to go crazy because the majority of folks kind of fall into these other areas, which are gold. If you have sailed 5 to 9 times, that opens Monday, May 24th. If you're a DVC member or an Adventures by Disney Insider, that opens for you on May 25th on Tuesday. If you're a silver Castaway Club member, that means you've at least sailed once, 1 to 4 times. That opens on May 26th. And then the general public, May 27th. So I kind of, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, you finish.
Oh, I was going to say, I kind of liked the way that this is kind of slow rolled because before, on the last time there was a launch, it's like the Hunger Games of who can get on the line. And literally for those of us who are vacation advisors trying to get things for hundreds of clients, we may have 4 or 5 phone lines going. And
that's what I wanted to ask you. So if I'm a first, second time, whatever, I'm cruised before. It's not time for you to book yet. I know the date I get to book. Correct me if I'm wrong. The best way for me to do this is set my own alarm at 4 a.m. and pick up my single phone and try to get through, right? That is the best way for me to book this vacation?
Well, again, that completely depends. Your best bet is actually to reach out to a vacation advisor. Heck, what a plug, to let us do that holding for you.
Yes, I like the idea of sleeping in while you make the magic happen.
I like down here in my jammies and my cup of coffee to get it as quickly as I can. The good news is that they also have it available online at this point. Their systems weren't ready or weren't set up to recognize the difference between a platinum who had 25 plus versus a platinum who had 50 plus. So for all of last week, pretty much, or all this week, sorry, it's been all call in. So yes, use your vacation planner. Talk to them beforehand, give them all the information they need, make sure that they have your Castaway Club number. They know what level you're at, that you have discussed what cabin category you want, so that when we're able to call in and we get in to the res center or we go online, we're able to grab at least the closest thing to the cabin you really, really want, as we're trying to go through all the options.
And I saw that firsthand. I got my email from Mouse Fan Travel a few days ago saying, book your cruise now. And I'm like, I can't. But oh, wait, they're a travel planner. I can just give them all my info now, way ahead of time, no pressure. And then when the time comes to book, and they know the right time to book, they'll take care of it for me. So that's why and by the way, does it cost 1 dime more to book through you?
Nothing more. As a matter of fact, it might actually cost you less because we also give little gifts and little incentives to thank you for your business. Some people choose to have a onboard credit later on. There's other little incentives that the agent talks with each of the clients about of what would be, most magical for them. So there's little perks to that. You don't have to wait in line. We do it for you. If there's changes, we can hang on the phone for you. There's a lot of benefits to working with a vacation planner, especially. And we all learned this over the last year, especially when things go wrong. Just go and look at some of the Facebook messages for some of those places like Costco Travel or just the people who had booked direct. And when things started shutting down, hold times were 8, 10, 11 hours to sometimes take care of the cancellations, the rebooks, and so forth. So
that is one of the mysteries to me, is why people don't use a Disney travel agent, since it doesn't cost anything. But people have their ways of doing it.
And while I love for you to work with MEI Travel and or Mouse Fan Travel, if you have a travel planner, thank you for supporting the travel industry as a whole. If you find someone that you gel with, that you love working with, please continue to support them, because this industry is really hurting. A lot of people don't understand that we don't get paid until you actually travel. So right now, while we're busy, we're booking for 2022 and 2023. So anything that you can do to support the travel industry is, dear to our heart. So instead of booking direct, use a vacation planner.
Cool. And while she won't say it, I will. We recommend that vacation planner be MEI Travel / Mouse Fan Travel. They are one and the same. I guess one's a subsidiary, but as far as Disney's concerned, they're booking Disney travel. They're one and the same. By the way, you do book other cruises and other travel as well.
Absolutely.
I don't know anyone who would use it, but I hear there are people.
we are a very large account with Royal Caribbean and Celebrity and NCL. We book every single cruise line or any destination. So if you just want to go to Hawaii, if you don't want to go to Aulani, that's fine. We can handle that too. But if you want to go anywhere to Hawaii, or if you want to go to Australia, if you want to go to London, we do all of that in packages that have tremendous savings and benefits.
So it feels like an infomercial, but I could not be more sincere. But let's get on to the Disney Wish, more of the Disney Wish. So what kind of itineraries are they talking about? And I think this is a concern to some people. What is its pricing like relative to the other Disney ships?
Well, this is very interesting. They've done something that I found kind of puzzling, but then again, it makes all the sense in the world. As they're coming out of the gate, their maiden voyage is going to be on June 9th, 2022. The June 9th is a 5-night sailing, and it looks like everything's going to pretty much be Bahamas, Castaway Cay round trip from Port Canaveral. That's the only 5-night. After that, they are going between 4 and 3-night sailings, all the way to the end of September. They haven't released anything beyond September 2022. So at that point, who knows? They may change it up. They might do some more 5 nights. They might not go to a 7-night. We don't know. I found it interesting that they are putting the brand new ship on those quick itineraries, because it's not a usual step that many of the cruise lines take. However, it does give a lot of people the opportunity to experience the Disney Wish for the first time.
I was going to say, I can totally see the thinking behind that of your land and sea vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You may not want to take all of your time and budget only for the cruise ship. You want to be able to, break it up a little bit between that Disney on land magic and then the Disney Wish at sea.
Very true. And when they first started out with the magic and the wonder way back when, remember when they had that huge focus on those 7-night packages, land and sea packages, which it's still kind of there, but from a Disney Cruise Line perspective, they're not really marketing it that way. Mm-hmm. However, we certainly are, because a 3-day vacation is not long enough, clearly. And if you're choosing between a 3 and 4 day and you've never cruised before, it might seem good to go for a 3-day just to see if you like it. I highly recommend go for the 4. Even 4 is almost too little. It's a 3-night kind of feels like you get on board, you haven't even unpacked, and then you're getting off the ship again. But if you're pairing it with a Walt Disney World stay for 4 nights, there's your 7-night vacation, and it's fabulous.
And I personally, I knew I was going to be going on the Wish that first summer. I was really hoping they would exclusively offer 26-night cruises, because that's how long I want to be on the ship. But
all I need is a ship and a high-speed internet, and I could live on it. That would be great.
And pro tip, you may disagree, but my pro tip for people doing land and sea vacations is do the land first, get yourself nice and exhausted, and then relax, and then go home. Don't follow up a cruise with the hecticness of Disney World. It's just going to blow all the positive chi you just got from the ship. So.
I agree with you, believe it or not. Because for me, coming from the West Coast, you kind of have to come in day prior anyway, so might as well come in a few days prior. Make sure you're there, you're relaxed, run around like crazy and do your theme park thing, and then end your vacation on that wonderful, relaxing note on board. Now, one thing you were talking about was pricing.
Yes.
This has been very interesting to watch. One thing that we do know about Disney is that they price based on demand. So the moment something releases, if you can book early, that's going to be your best possible price, because as the ship fills, the prices increase. So let's say you've got rates, or you're looking at August, right? And it might be that earlier August seems like it might be higher, but let's say that maybe that particular sailing hasn't filled as much as, say, something that's at the end of August. So you want to look at all of the dates around it as you're choosing. But as we knew, the Disney Wish, since it's been so long since we've actually seen a brand new ship from Disney, that maiden voyage, it came with a heck of a premium to sail on the first one. That maiden voyage was starting in that area of about 5,000, 5,500 for two people, which that's where it started on day one.
For a 5-night, right?
Yeah, for the 5-night. I saw a screenshot today of an inside stateroom that was still available, which was now gone, for just over $10,000 for two people on an inside stateroom.
Wow, that's some demand.
Let's breathe for a second. Yeah, that was something that kind of took me, well, I guess not by surprise, but it's kind of interesting. So
I honestly, I don't get that. I mean, if I've got 10 grand to burn, fine. But that very first sailing is not always the smoothest experience ever. I kind of want them to get that out of their system before I get on the ship.
Somebody was laughing because I love the maiden voyages, because I do kind of like that process stuff. I like to see how it all works and how they test and adjust. They do sailings before that, before the actual maiden from a revenue cruise perspective. They'll do media cruises and travel agent previews and so forth. So they're trying to kind of work out the kinks in that perspective. But by the maiden, it usually is pretty smooth, but there still can be some places where the paint is still not exactly dry, or some things are being placed in different places.
And I don't want to turn people off. If you want to spend 10 grand on that maiden voyage, by all means, mousefantravel.com. The higher the fare, the higher their commission. So we recommend that really high.
I was going to say, you also have to take into account that we're dealing with people who have pent up travel budget,
Yes.
right? So if you have pent up travel budget and you have this opportunity to be on a maiden sail, maybe you've never done it before. This may be like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot my shot. I may not be kind of in that position again.
Exactly. I have one client who has been on every single maiden voyage of all the Disney cruises. And she was like, I don't care. Just whatever it's going to cost me. Here's my credit card. I need to be on that next maiden. And I was like, okay, remember, we have 2 more Triton class ships that are coming right behind this one. So save up that PTO and your pennies, because she wants to be on every single one. And I adore her for that, because of course it's that passion and love for Disney that we all have.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
It is special.
And then you look at the different pricing. So here's my tip. If you can go, if you can wait until after summer, say end of August into September, or later on in the fall, price-wise, you're in a much better position, because they do price on supply and demand. And the highest demand is going to be when the kids are out of school. So anytime you have those summer dates when kids are out of school, or holidays, that's when you're going to run into some of the highest prices that you see. So for example, a 3-night in June and July is running approximately $2,900 for two people on an inside. But if you wait until late August or September, it's almost $1,000 less, $500 per person less. And that even shows on the 4-night, where in June and July, it's approximately $4,000 for two people on an inside. And then if you look into late August or into September, it's as low as $1,900 for two on an inside. So you almost get a 40 to 50% upcharge for those higher demand dates on a brand new ship.
Wow, that is a huge difference. So keep that in mind. Dang it, I was going to say something. It doesn't matter. Let's get inside the ship, please. So let's start with dining, because I like to eat.
We like dining.
And the Disney Wish is going to bring us some new dining opportunities. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the three main restaurants, if you will. Wait, is this even
Sure.
that? Yeah,
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm really excited about this because they've kept, well, way back when they came out with the Magic and the Wonder, they came up with these wonderful experiences where you had that rotational dining. No other cruise line had that innovation. So Disney came up with it. It worked beautifully, and they're continuing on that tradition, which is great. I'm thrilled that the three venues, though, are tapping into even more story than we've seen in the past. So Arendelle, a frozen dining adventure, and I'm going to look at my notes so I don't get all this wrong. It's going to be a theatrical dining experience, which is exciting to me, because one of the things that I loved so much about Animator's Palette is that show that goes on around you, right, when you're having dinner. And I can just see the potential and what they're going to be able to do with this. Now, some of the preview things that were given to the media, like we're looking at now, had her looking like she was creating magic on the stage. And I'm hoping that they really can pull something like this off in special effects, since she's in one location. But to be able to have dinner and a show, have a story told before you when you're there having a fantastic dinner with your family and friends, I'm really excited about the potential of having that character interaction.
I feel like for me, this feels like an evolution to the Rapunzel dining experience that they've had on board ship. And I don't remember the nomenclature for that experience, but in essence, you were, experiencing moments from the film, and some of the tavern people would be wandering and you would interact with them. But it wasn't quite in this same like theatrical how you're explaining here. It was vignettes of the movie as you ate. Right. And whereas this feels like true dinner theater, which will be very it's a neat idea. Yeah. I'm excited to see it.
And that next step that they took from where you were talking about with Rapunzel was up to Tiana's place, that they put in place at the Wonder, where that became your in Tiana's place. And so you're stepping into the movie and you get to have that entertainment, and she goes to all the tables to make sure that your dinner is fantastic. And this does feel like that next step beyond that, which is exciting.
That is still on our to-do list. We have not yet experienced that one.
Tiana's place and Rapunzel's Royal Table, of course, both of those were added to existing, other restaurants were transformed into those. Whereas here for Arendelle, it's that from the ground up. So as Becky said, hopefully with this permanent location designed that way from the beginning, we might even get an opportunity for more amazing things. How about the next restaurant based on some more superhero thingy?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why this is important whatsoever. I get to eat with Thor. Come on. I'm so happy about this. I think that this was one of the reveals. There was like 3 reveals that made me want to jump up and scream and act like a 12-year-old. And this was one of them. The Worlds of Marvel. It's going to be a cinematic dining experience. Now, notice the only renderings we've received is what you're looking at right here. So we don't know what it looks like inside. There's got to be some more detail here that they're going to be sprinkling on us eventually, because only to show us this is a tease. There's going to be something to this entire thing. If they're calling it a cinematic experience, I have high expectations.
It'll be. I'm eager for more of an idea of what how it is revealed within the location itself. I know that I feel like I've had success with the screen interactions that you have with Crush, the Turtle Talk with Crush, where you're dining and then periodically he would swim up to your table and talk with everybody there. And so I'm eager to see, because I'm envisioning, since the word cinematic was used, for me that implies that some of my experience may be a bit screen dependent, and along with the overarching excitement of a Marvel adventure. So
what's kind of cool though is when I was in China, we experienced a very interesting walkthrough that was Marvel cinematic, where it wasn't really screens, but you were walking through this interesting dynamic of characters, and thanks to Doctor Strange, you were moving through to different locations. So for some reason in my head, I'm thinking, wouldn't that be cool if they brought that
Oh,
forward?
wow. Oh, that's,
Or, my expectations are like up here. So all the things that they're able to do, and they're not showing us that's the thing that even intrigues me more, because they're just not giving us anything beyond the, hey, here's the waiting area before you walk into your cinematic dining experience. So yeah, if we get screens, I'm going to be fine with that, but I have a feeling if they do that, it's probably going to be a mixture of both. It would have to be.
I keep hoping that we'll see some of the I don't want to, it's not interactive, but where they transform your table surface into like a work of art somehow. I've seen restaurants that are beginning to build on this, where they take you through a story based, and they're using the table as the canvas.
Yeah, there are several cruise lines that are using that, specifically with the little chef that comes out, and he's actually teeny tiny, and he makes everything right on your tabletop, and it's like a 3D effect. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
That's kind of on my Disney my Disney wish list of technology I'd love to see someday on my cruise.
That would be really cool. But they also said we're guests, and this is where I'm kind of going here, where guests will play an interactive role in an action-packed adventures mission that unfolds around them. So that's where I'm thinking screens, yes, but if it's going to be interactive and something's happening all around you, which is kind of what we experienced in that walkthrough, this has got a lot of potential to be the place where I'm like, can I just have dinner here every night, please?
Yeah, well, I mean, that does raise a question. There will be eating at this restaurant, right?
That's what we understand. I think food is going to be part of it, where they said it's the worldly menu. It will be inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I am looking forward to reenacting Fat Thor scene in this restaurant. That is what I'm all about. So,
like, can you put Ben's comment back up, because I thought that was kind of funny. He said, "I hope I could throw my used mugs on the floor like Thor."
I know where Ben is staying. I'm pretty sure he can throw his mug wherever the heck he wants.
Yeah, I was going to say,
it's all good.
Now I know what to give him for his gift. I'll give him like a 12-pack of mugs that he can throw at his whim.
All right, and then the final, there always has to be an elegant restaurant among them. So do you want to talk about 1923?
1923, I love this because, of course, it's all about Walt. So it doesn't have the show going on around you, and it does give you a venue that you can kind of just breathe and relax and have a wonderful dinner. It's their explanation is it's named for the year that Walt Disney Company was founded. It is an elegant celebration of the company's legacy, paying homage to the golden age of animation and offering a tasteful tribute to the Californian heritage. So it sounds like it's going to be, like maybe Napa Rose at sea. I'm going to kind of think that in my brain. It could be with a little bit of that nod to the legacy of the Walt Disney Company and Walt Disney himself with 1923. So looking at the decor, it just looks like a place that after I've eaten 4 times at the Worlds of Marvel, then I can go have lunch there.
So you mentioned that there's the rotational dining. Those are the 3 main restaurants that are included in your cruise. But Disney, of course, traditionally has on the smaller ships 1, and on the larger ships 2 additional restaurants that are upcharged and worth every stinking penny of it, and that's no exception on this cruise. So Palo is the one that's on every ship here, called Palo Steakhouse.
Yeah, and this was kind of controversial at first because people heard the word Palo Steakhouse. What's going to happen to that? All the Italianness that I need and I love. But basically, they're taking the Italian dining style and combining it with a modern steakhouse. So it sounds like you're going to get all the choices and options, maybe not all, but the choices and options that you have at Palo currently, but they're going to add that added element of having steak options. So knowing that the Palo filet mignon has been one of the most popular dishes on the other ships, this makes total sense. As long as they don't get rid of the strawberry soup, I'm fine. So
Really what it comes down to.
strawberry
Look at
soup.
that view, by the way. This Apollo view. Yeah. And
It's
the
great.
brunch. You better have a brunch because that's what I'm all about when it comes to
I was gonna say, I know Jamie's gonna chime in and be like, yeah, and they better have the brunch because that is our like cruise first thing we do is we make sure that we can get a buffet experience there at Apollo. While I enjoy the restaurant in the evening, I have to admit that I've always been a fan of having the opportunity to eat in Palo during the day when you have that beautiful sun and the ocean as you're dining, and also the food is great too. But
yeah, well, see, the Apollo brunch is tradition for any of us that have been on a Disney cruise. Once you've done one Apollo brunch, you dream about Apollo brunch later on. You want to recreate Apollo brunch, and there's no way you possibly can. So you have to go back on the cruise. That's how awesome that experience is. And I got to a point where when you're doing one of the 4-night sailings and you have to choose between Apollo dinner and Apollo brunch, brunch was what I would laser focus on right away because it is just that great feeling of, I mean, where else on this planet do you go to a restaurant and you're expected to eat breakfast and then have kind of an intermission with some, things from the brunch tables, like, I don't know, seared tuna, strawberry soup, all that thing. And then, hey, have lunch behind it. Mm-hmm. So I've had a 4-hour experience at Apollo brunch before where you start with their egg frittata and then you move on to the brunch tables. And then later on you get the chicken. I love that.
And maybe a few mimosas.
Indeed, you have to start with mimosa at least. Maybe start and end, and then somewhere in the middle you have something else.
We're getting there. One of the reasons I love Apollo brunch, the best meal in the world. But one of the reasons I love it is I love my dining team and my dining rotation so much. I hate to miss dinner, even for something as great as Apollo. So being able to enjoy Apollo brunch and still get to my rotation and see my servers and all that is awesome.
And that's another plug for doing a 4-night or more, because then if you're going to do the 3 rotational restaurants, you don't miss any of those, and you have the extra night that you can go to Apollo or the other brand new experience,
which we will get to in a second. But questions always get priority, and someone wanted to get negative here. So can you talk about the changes to Apollo pricing?
Ooh, I actually haven't seen the latest piece of it. Benji, you would put me in that corner, wouldn't you? I appreciate that. The latest up, I did see that it did increase a little while ago, but you know what, honestly, I didn't balk at it whatsoever because it is such a wonderful experience. And again, those servers up there, part of your service charge is helping them out too. So they're not the ones that are going to get your tips when you pay your prepaid gratuity. So I'm always not having an issue with paying anything additional to go to Apollo or any of these extra experiences.
Go ahead, Rebecca. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, one of the things that I have enjoyed about Apollo is that, and the other, like I would call them like secondary dining experiences, is that they encourage you to try things. Yeah. So if perhaps you've ordered your entree and they'll talk to you and they'll ask you what you're thinking of your entree, and they'll be like, oh, well, did you consider ordering blank? And you're like, oh no, I hadn't. And oh, well, let me bring you over some of that, or if you're enjoying your soup, they'll be like, oh, you know what, if you liked this, well, let me show you what the chef can do with that.
Yeah. So or you're sitting there and saying, okay, I'm deciding between these 3 dishes. What do you recommend? And then they'll kind of say, well, I recommend this, but then I'll bring you over some taster bites of the other 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't feel hemmed in, and if for some reason, if you're disappointed, then they're always quick to make sure that you've had a pleasant, maybe you tried something new, maybe you went off your usual path and it turned out it wasn't really your thing. They'll make sure to bring you something so that you leave stuffed. I mean,
Oh, you roll out of Apollo. Let's not. There's no marking that you're definitely rolling out. So the hard thing is when you have a day that you accidentally get Apollo dinner, or sorry, Apollo brunch and then Apollo dinner on the same day. Yeah, that's a rookie mistake, FYI. Just so you know, you might want to do whatever restaurant that you don't really want to eat too much at, like maybe the Marvel Cinematic one.
No eating there. I'm not sure they offer food.
That would be
I
a
just
day
wanted
where
to-
you definitely have to have the spa in between, because that's about all you're going to have the energy for.
Oh my gosh. And I've
Um,
made that mistake before. So again, I'm just saying, I'm trying to help you not make the same rookie mistake I did. And then
Learn from Becky.
pro tips you get from Becky. Coming back real quick, just to Benji's thing. So what they announced back in April is brunch at Palo and Remy. They would remain a fixed price, but dinner at Palo is going to be either a prefix menu or a la carte pricing. So it's no longer pay one price, eat all you want. We'll see how that actually manifests itself when the cruises start sailing again. Is this or is this? We just want to make sure Doobie doesn't come in and order one of each, as he has a tendency to do. So.
Can I have one of everything and then leave all the, whatever. If you took one bite of everything, it's still sitting there. I can see the need to be able to do that. Doing a prefix menu, though, that's going to be the greatest hits, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't bother me. And if I do want to order 5 or 6 more full size entrees, then I don't have a problem paying for that, especially when they're looking at doing steaks or going into that higher end dishes. So personally, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Hope they have an impossible steak. That would be so awesome. I'm a vegetarian. All right, so come back to here. Apollo Brunch is this is Grace Corp. Apollo Brunch is my fave. Love your portrait, your picture there, but can't wait to try Enchanté.
Enchanté. All I can think of, all right, this is so bad, but going back to oh my gosh, what's his name? Rocky Horror Picture Show, where he says Enchanté.
Okay.
That's the only thing I could think of when I heard it the first time. It just went bam. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Enchanté.
Major flashback for Becky.
I know. You never know what you're gonna get when you ask me to be on these things. FYI, just
So this is the ultra high end restaurant, kind of the equivalent of Remy on the other large ships. What do you know about it, Becky?
You know what? I'm thinking this is going to be an improved version, a higher scale version of Remy. I know that Remy has been so popular. It is it's the place to go for that romantic meal or for that upscale celebration. It does come at a higher cost, obviously, and I'm hoping they do the same thing where they've got a champagne brunch or something else that they can bring into the flair. But it's going to be that French cuisine by the chef that I won't even try to pronounce his name. Or maybe you can, but I am afraid to because I don't want to.
I will try. He's a 3 Michelin starred chef. His name is Arnaud Lelmont.
Wow, not bad. Hopefully you didn't butcher it. I would have. So yeah, congratulations.
You sounded like you knew what you were doing.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
That's the key.
But the renderings that we saw looks like it's going to have that feel like you're not at sea, like you're at a 5-star restaurant in Manhattan, and that one is not it. That one's Palo.
No.
Like, wait a minute, because it definitely has a much more high scale, upscale feel and love for it, but it's out there somewhere.
Oh wow.
Doobie
tends to eat at those with someone from my family because I'm not the. I would rather go ride the aqueduct, or in this case, it's going to be the aqua mouse a few more times than spend so much time sitting at a fancy meal. So I let him fancy meal with those in my family who appreciate it more, and I go and like I say, ride the aqueduct and now aqua mouse to my heart's content.
I'm with you in the fancy restaurant. I really love just sitting there with a bunch of friends or my family and just having a wonderful meal with no stress, great food, great wine pairings, and just celebrating being together. And especially after what we've been through the past year or so, there's going to be a lot of those kind of meals happening.
I'm very much looking forward to the pacing of a vacation cruise, a cruise vacation. There we go. Because there's a uniqueness to the pace of the cruise vacation, because when you're on board ship, things there's an energy and an excitement like a vacation, but yet you're also not as spread. It's a little bit less spread out. You're not, wandering from, all the 1 mile walk around World Showcase Lagoon, and you're in a temperature controlled environment. When you're inside and out on deck, you can enjoy the ocean breezes. There's just a different pace to it, even though it is a definite, there's a lot to do. I don't want to paint it as like you're just, taking a nap for 4 days. No, there's a lot to do, tons of entertainment on board ship. We always enjoy the trivia contests. I often find myself trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because they have so many they layer their entertainment in a variety of ways. You can see a movie or see a show or go to a trivia contest or learn how to draw Mickey. There's like all kinds of different things going on. You have to pick and choose, but yet it's still not that same hecticness that you have. It's like the Disney magic with a little less hectic.
Yeah, I'm with you, because you can do as much or as little. You don't have to worry about getting up to catch the bus to get to the place to do this thing. It's literally, am I going to get up today? Am I going to have room service and sit on my balcony and read a book?
Which you can.
And just watch the water go by, or am I going to stumble out and go into Castaway Cay and I mean, just that feeling of going out to the adult beach and hanging out there and having a beverage and just looking at the water. I mean, I'm a water soul and I love being anywhere near water. So just the thought of being on a balcony looking at water, as a matter of fact, that's gonna be one of my next social media posts, is just looking at water, I think, because I crave it so much and I can't wait to do it.
I think Beci and my cruising taste is more similar than your and mine, Debbie. when we talk, because she's talking nice mimosa, she's talking looking out at the water, her joy of I can barely get him off the ship at Castaway Cay.
I don't want to get off the ship at Castaway Cay.
He doesn't want to get off. No.
At Castaway Cay, it becomes my ship.
Yes.
See, he's one of those.
See, that used to be Nassau for me, because everybody, goes off the ship and I'm like, my ship. There's nobody here. I can actually go watch a movie. I can just hang out at the pool and have hardly anybody there. But now that so many people have been to Nassau, now it tends to be we're in Nassau. Let's go to the pool. Yes. But yeah, I kind of get you, Doobie. It is kind of nice sometimes just to be able to have a quiet ship to wander around.
Plus, Castaway Cay has sand and it's rough and coursing. It's all over the place, which is a great segue if I can continue. May I continue? Because that is a killer segue. Okay. And now I'm gonna blow that segue by going somewhere else, because we're gonna move on to the libation areas of the ship. And I don't know much about Beci, but one thing I do know from listening to Screen Rant's #1 rated podcast, WW Radio, is that Beci likes her alcohol. Lou Mangello makes that perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. So
yes, Lou has effectively communicated that.
Somebody's got to do it, right? Someone's got to make sure that bottle of Bailey's is not been there for too long. Somebody's got to take care of that. And yeah, I am very excited about the Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge. I am. When they brought that up on the screen during the preview event that they gave us, that became all of the oxygen went out of the room. Obviously, the Marvel thing. That was so it reminds me a lot of Skyline on the other ships on the Dream and Fantasy. So I kind of envision it being a lot like that, where you kind of see that that scene will change in the background where you see behind the bar. I'm hoping. I'll be honest. I was kind of hoping for maybe a little bit more theming in there, and maybe there will be more than what we're seeing. Just because once you kind of have been in Oga's, there's an expectation level there when you talk about Star Wars lounges. But then again, this is supposed to be that more elegant ship that was after Solo, the movie. So I see why it's not that way after I've learned that it's based on that. But hey, I'm sure that there's going to be some pretty interesting beverages to try, and I'm happy to volunteer as tribute.
I love the idea that that the backgrounds are going to be over varying planets that we're familiar with in Star Wars. And it's not just a nice like screensaver of a planet. There's actually going to be moments in time, in essence. You're going to see the X-wing battle. You're gonna see the Razor Crest maybe coming in for a landing on the planet, or perhaps see the Millennium Falcon launch and then fly by as it's soaring off the planet. So these kinds of things are going to be very, very fun. And all of the nuggets and everything that those of us who are passionate about Star Wars are going to try and dig up are it's going to be fun to watch that evolution as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to be interesting. It's going to be hard to get into that lounge. I think it's going to be one of the most popular places to be. But as you were talking, I was thinking, there's an X-wing battle going on in the back. Can I have another Bailey's and cream, please? Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that one was just shot down. How cool. Can I have a Grand Marnier?
Okay, so here's what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning we see the Death Star explode in the distance, and everybody raises their drinks. Hooray! Yay for the rebellion! Like a Star Wars pub.
And I think Disney really plans on this being, all out for Star Wars geeks. StarWars.com actually released a list of ships that you would be seeing while you're dining at the bar, which, they are, when you're telling people they're going to be seeing the Halcyon and the Ibis Fighter and the Nukoy Freighter, there's about 0.001% of people who know what those things are. But all of them can afford cruises because they run the world. So this is really going to be geared towards the Star Wars geek and the...
that is kind of cool, though, to think about looking out and seeing the Halcyon. Because that becomes, then they're going to be docking anytime now in Batuu. Yay.
Batuu. The Halcyon, Doobie, I don't know if you recall, but the Halcyon is the name of the Galactic Star Cruiser that will be there at Walt Disney World.
And it's going to come dock on the cruise ship?
Well, because it's a cruiser that visits Batuu, and Batuu is among the planets that we will see out of our window as we sail, and so we will get to see the Halcyon.
This is so much theming. I'm going to explode.
Like I say, my personal wish list is that we have some sort of Dianoga represented, and I'll be fine. Without a Dianoga, I'll be disappointed.
This is actually a bit of a step up from the theming on the other. I shouldn't say a step up, but a change from the theming on the other ships. Where, like you said, you have the Skyliner Lounge, where you're seeing places around the world, or
you can always call it the Skyliner Lounge.
The Skyliner Lounge, or by the way, Kent Water, highly recommended. The Skyline Lounge, or the Meridian Bar, which is just kind of a general nautical theme. Whereas on this ship, we have the Star Wars themed lounge, and we have the Beauty and the Beast themed bar upstairs between Paolo and Enchante, presumably.
Which, by the way, if you're ever at the Meridian Bar, the creme brulee martini.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love
dessert. It is the best dessert on the ship. FYI.
Oh.
So
okay.
As they put the list of all the different locations here, it's amazing how pretty much every single one is themed to something Disney/Marvel/Star Wars,
right,
as opposed to just a general. If you think back to when the cruise ships first started, there was two Disney themed restaurants, and then Parrot Key, which now has gotten changed and even more so on these ships. So I'm excited about it as a humongous Disney fan. I am curious how it's going to play out though for everyone.
Well, you got to figure if people are going to pay the premium to sail on a Disney ship, let's be honest about it. It's not the least expensive of the cruise opportunities. They're expecting story. They're expecting Disney. They're expecting that IP, and it's been many years since they came forward with the Dream and the Fantasy. And even those two ships, like the Fantasy, for example, or even the older ships, like looking at the Wonder, where they've brought in that IP and that storytelling, it's made a difference, and people responded well to it. So I think that the expectation from people is, if I'm going to go on a Disney ship, I want to be part of that Disney story. So maybe that's the response that they had for this latest ship, to see if that, the investment in the IP that they've had for all these years, let's let people be immersed in it at sea, which I think is kind of fantastic. And there's so many other opportunities out there to take a cruise vacation if you don't want to be surrounded by that type of storytelling. So why try to be something else if you've got all this story to share?
Well, you made an excellent point too, though. When the Magic and the Wonder came out, they did not have Marvel, they did not have Star Wars. So being Disney meant being, Disney for little kiddies more so. Whereas now with Star Wars and Marvel, you can still be Disney, but clearly be geared towards a more adult audience.
You're not as tied to kind of that fairy tale.
Right. Because I still don't think the world is ready to go to a bar with Mickey Mouse everywhere. Maybe I'm wrong, but being able to do Star Wars.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking that Disney's not ready to put a bar together with Mickey in it either. So
right,
we're probably good there.
Yeah, about as close as we've come would be Pink, right? With the bubbles that for those of us who are passionate fans would link it to. But I mean, it's not one of those things where you walk and go, oh yeah, I'm thinking Dumbo, right? But passionate fans would think of it.
But they are doing with Beauty and the Beast here with Beauty and the Beast. So.
But they're doing it in such an elegant way.
Yes.
Right.
For example, if you look at Enchanted Rose, the lounge that is in the Grand Floridian, it has that same type of style. It's reflective of the story. It's based on that. You can look around and feel familiar with the characters, but it's not like the Beast is, running through for character stops in the middle of the lounge. But you still get that story.
Not till I get there. So let's another great segue line. The adult pool area with the libation will be my favorite spot the first day. So
Becky,
they have
the endless pool
in the back.
Oh, that endless pool on the bow. No, on the stern of the ship, right? I'm saying that right now. Yeah. Looking out, and then it has a swim up bar, it appears. I mean, we're just going based on these kind of concept. Oh, I'm like, my heart.
See, and I'm really glad that they've chosen to put it in the location it was, because before it was kind of awkward because for adults that don't have kids or trying to get away from their kids, to be in the adult pool was a draw. But yet that whole entire area, the kids had to walk through to get to their staterooms or to get to other places. So it never really felt like that getaway oasis for the adults. This was smart. It's brilliant for them to put it in the location that it's in, so that you do kind of have that oasis away from the craziness of the family pool that can be when you've got everybody on board on a sea day. So, but I could just imagine having a drink, sitting in that the pool in the back and just watching the sea go behind you. It looks like it's gonna be fantastic.
So that's what you say you're going to be doing. What you're really going to be doing is this.
Oh, well,
yes, I
okay. Now no, I'll watch everybody. I'll film it. I will applaud you as you go around. I've only done that on one ship, and that was because Lou talked me into doing it.
Wow.
And
Really?
Yeah. I have Augustus glute problems. When I look at those tubes, like
this is
stuck.
So this is not Becky's idea of fun.
No,
I don't get stuck.
Here's my thing. I'm a tad bit claustrophobic, and by a tad I mean like hugely. So so
that makes sense.
Those tubes were like, I'm good. It looks fun, but I'll wave at you. I'm gonna be down here cheering you on for all the fun you're gonna have in that. I'll be at the bar.
Well, this is the Aquamouse. So Disney stepped it up with the first water coaster at sea with the Aquaduck, and then they had the really cool drop thing on the smaller ships, the Aquadunk, and now they're stepping it up with the Aquamouse, which they're calling the first Disney attraction at sea, because it's more than just a ride. It is seems to be a dark ride experience. Yes. And it just looks amazing, and I think it's going to be a huge hit. So much more competition out there now from the other cruise ships in terms of what they're doing out at sea, bumper cars and go-karts and rock climbing walls, but no one else can bring you a Disney dark ride at sea. So This is pretty exciting. Becky, we will tell you all about it. Don't worry.
When we get back from the sailing that we're all on together, I will probably do it. I have a rule in my company, and I know that we have several of my advisors that are watching right now, and they'll say, "Oh yeah." When there's something new, unless there's a medical reason not to, I highly encourage everybody to try it so that they can advise people on if it's right for them or not right for them. So, and there's no way to do that unless you try it yourself. So yes, I will try it at least once. If it's, not so, I'm going to be stuck in this tunnel for the rest of my existence.
I understand.
I will probably do it again, but I'm excited for the technology, for the things that they've brought into this ship, especially from that activity perspective and the fun on board. Because like you said, there's a lot of good competitors out there who are aiming for the family market. And again, the one thing they don't have, while they do have things at sea, they don't have that Disney storytelling or the access to those characters. So having a dark ride at sea and having Mickey and Minnie involved, that just pluses it up even more.
Okay, let's go spend a little time talking about the staterooms. What have you learned so far about Disney stateroom? Let's start with the top, literally the top.
Well,
too.
Let me give you an idea of what we're looking at in terms of staterooms on board the ship. Now, this ship is just slightly larger than the Dream and the Fantasy. So it's not, a mega ship like you're seeing with some of the other cruise lines. However, it has 1,254 staterooms, which of that 76 are concierge. So we'll get there in a second. Of those, 1,133 are outside staterooms with 948 are verandas. So 70% of the staterooms on board have a veranda, and that's amazing. 185 ocean view. So 20% have an ocean view, and 10% are inside. So there's only 121 inside staterooms, which is a small number. And by the way, when you price stuff, don't think about, I don't know if I can really afford this, so I'm going to shoot for an inside stateroom, because the difference between an inside and an ocean view sometimes is as low as $20 a person. So get that window for that extra. And sometimes going from an ocean view to one of the balconies can be as low as $50 a person. So don't think that, the cheapest thing for me is the inside because that's all I can afford. It is nice to see that 90% of all the staterooms either have a veranda or an ocean view. That's kind of the trend right now in terms of designing. But yes, those concierge staterooms. Okay, if you want to start at the top, go ahead and put that puppy up. And there are several things that it's known by right now. The official stateroom, the official title is the Wish Tower Suite. However,
and this is it. This is a suite.
Yes,
correct. The windows for one room.
A suite, one room, 2 levels. So, I mean, I sit here and just stumble over it in my brain, because when I saw that it's in the funnel, there's a 2-story suite in the funnel. That blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. It's 1,966 square feet. So the size of a family home. It's bigger than that for some.
Or twice the size of a family home, as the case may be.
Yeah, almost 2,000 square feet. 2 main bedrooms, a children's room, a library that converts into a bedroom, and wait for this, 4.5 bathrooms. I don't know who needs 4.5 bathrooms, but it sleeps up to 8 people. So this is one of those things that you get a whole bunch of friends together. You get 8 of your best friends, and you slice this one up. It ends up being around $35,000 or $4,000 per person for a 4-night sailing on those lower dates. But you can have a really good time with 8 people and your friends and 4 bathrooms. So maybe that's why they did that.
The artwork that they have showcased in some of those images, some tile mosaic, they look just stunning.
That, and then the statue that comes to life.
Tafiti, right?
Yeah, and I think what they've done here is if you've seen anything about the Dream Suites in either Disneyland or in Walt Disney World, they've brought many of those elements into this suite where how you're woken up apparently has some interesting chimes. There's other little hidden details and Easter eggs from what I understand with throughout this suite. So it definitely is one where I was looking at going, okay, what car do I need to sell? Because I really, really want to stay in this suite. And hopefully
Come
eventually
2022.
well, I'm thinking 2030. Again, I'm a travel agent during COVID. Hello. It's going to be a while before I can stay there. But happily, I know some friends that have booked into it, and I'm looking forward to at least getting a tour. It's funny because people are now calling it the Funnel Suite. I know that Disney wants us to call it the Wish Tower Suite, but it's going to be the Funnel Suite.
They put it in the funnel.
I apologize in advance, but that's the only thing that I'm going to call it. And it's bad.
It's fun to see all the different, Disney ships have two funnels famously, one of which is used and one of which isn't. And it's fun to see all the various ways they've used that spare funnel through the years, and they finally found the perfect use for it. They need to stop evoluting and stop right here.
Yeah, I am kind of sad that it's getting rid of one of the, because it was a meeting space where I did a lot of events in that space.
Used it.
We did too. We did
Weddings were happening in there. So now I'm thinking, oh, great. Where am I going now for meeting space? Because that was actually the perfect thing. The one thing that Disney is not trying to do is target the corporate market. So they're not trying to bring groups of people and the need for meeting space, but hopefully they'll still have some for us.
But the good news is you can now get married here.
Yes. That's fantastic.
Not bad.
I love that chandelier. I am targeted on it. I love it. I hope they turn it into a necklace, not a big one, a small one. I mean, I'm hoping that there's some sort of jewelry that comes out of that, because that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sight. And I can't wait to see it with my own eyes.
Ooh, I might have to send that suggestion over to, there's this jeweler who does a lot of Disney licensing, and periodically I text over ideas because I have a make submissions here. I will have to do that. Be like, hey, is this on your radar?
Man, I was looking, the first thing that came out of my mind when I saw this, like that would be like the perfect pendant. That would be amazing. To have that. So Texter, I want the first one. Okay. So anyway, the other suites too, don't forget, there is the funnel / Wish Tower Suite funnel. But they also have 4 other royal suites, where before they had the Walt and the Roy. Now they have 4 suites that are based on Disney's Sleeping Beauty. 2 of them are the Princess Aurora Royal Suite. Say that 4 times fast. That's hard. And then the other is the Briar Rose Royal Suites. And each of them includes a single floor option. So one of each is single floor. And the other 2 are 2-story configurations. So those are exceedingly popular. And I will tell you, well, they have those. They also have a 1-bedroom suite. And then they have the standard concierge rooms as well. But they also have another concierge that is up right above the bridge that has floor-to-ceiling windows, no balcony, but floor-to-ceiling windows and kind of a curved look to it. That's going to be really popular when people start showing pictures of it, because you wake up in the morning and just have this floor-to-ceiling window view, just like the captain has off the bridge of the ship. So those are going to be exceedingly popular. And I almost, but I didn't, and I should have.
Quick question on concierge while you're there. I've never been lucky enough to stay in a concierge room. Can you give just quickly approximate upcharge for that, and what are the benefits you get? Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing what the concierge benefits are going to be on board this ship. I do know that you'll have access to the concierge lounge, which this one is going to be up to 3 times larger than the ones that we know and love right now on the Fantasy and the Dream. It's really nice because you have somebody to go to help you with your dining reservations, to help you with your spa appointments, to help you with just handling any of the shore excursions. You've got somebody there who has your back. So you get up in the morning and thinking, yeah, I feel like I need a massage. You just pick up the phone, call your concierge, and they take care of it, rather than sitting on the phone going, oh, well, you don't have Monday. Okay, well, can you check Tuesday? What do you have on Tuesday? Okay, oh, sorry. So what do you have on Thursday? Let the concierge figure that out.
And they have some access too that will help get some of those appointments that you may not be able to get. They are fantastic. You go in there too, and they have buffets for you. I'm not sure how this is going to work right now. Clearly, I'm going to pretend in my brain that we are way post pandemic as I talk about this, but they have a spread of breakfast and then some snacks for lunch and then something for dinner, like appetizers. You have access, and they have a bar that's open for certain beer and wine and cocktails, and they have a cocktail hour where it's included. You have full access to soft drinks and water. I've walked in there, got a cappuccino at 11 o'clock at night and gone back to my room. It really is a nice way to cruise. It's like a, go ahead.
One of the benefits I've read about and not been able to experience is instead of the limited room service menu, the non-concierge have, you can actually order pretty much anything off of the main dining room menus. Which is
yes, in particular suites, they will allow that. And if you're in one of the big suites, I'm not sure again how the Wish is going to run because I haven't been told yet. But on the other ones, if you're staying in one of the Royal suites, you can also order Apollo up. And if you're in one of the Royal suites, you also get an unlimited internet package, which, hello, if anybody at Disney is listening, please revise your internet packages. We are dying out here because right now their packages are based on the minute. So any of us can go bankrupt really fast if you're live streaming or if you're doing any type of social media. But that's one place that you can almost justify getting a Royal Suite when you have unlimited internet up there too.
Benji is regretting not booking a Royal Suite. He really would like that unlimited internet.
I kind of regret that too. I'm not sure where that's gonna. Who knows what's gonna happen on the Wish? If they're gonna have a different package available. I mean, the technology is much different now than it was when they came out with the Fantasy and the Dream. So hopefully they'll remedy that one. We'll have to see. But you also have your own private sun deck. That is available only to concierge. So it's kind of like having, a boutique hotel inside of a big hotel because you can.
And the way you described having the concierge to help you kind of reminded me a little bit of having someone like Mouse Fan Travel to take care of your cruise before you get on the ship, and then you just continue that experience once you're actually on the ship.
Absolutely. And sometimes if you go with me on one of our groups, you have me there to help you too. So that's one of the things about group cruising, which is so amazing, is that we take our teams of people and we're available to help anybody. Even if you're not in concierge, I'm your concierge. So that's one of the benefits of going with group cruising.
So I think we've covered the major stuff. Is there anything else about the Wish that sticks out in your mind that you want to make sure people know that I didn't mention?
Well, one thing I think people need to understand, because a lot of people do kind of really focus on those suites, which people don't really realize that they're usually the first to go. As a matter of fact, let me give the pricing that we're seeing right now on that, because a lot of people will be interested in it. If you're looking at that June and July for the 3 nights, you can get a balcony for $3,200, but concierge is $45,000 to $5,000 for 2 people. So it's not a huge jump. But those are, of course, to the standard concierge rooms. So you have access and you can still, enjoy the lounge and enjoy the benefits. You also get, help in embarkation and disembarkation, which is very helpful. Tendering. I mean, there's all kinds of benefits. And sometimes there's even special character meet and greets for concierge guests as well. So that makes it hugely beneficial. On the 4-night sailings, we're seeing the concierge starting at around $6,500, going up from there. That's June and July. For late August and September, it's as low as $4,500. I did see, though, in all of the dates between June 9th and the end of September, which has been released right now, every single suite is sold.
Really?
They do have some of the concierge, but I mean the suites, they're sold.
And we haven't even reached general availability yet.
Yeah. And those, I mean, again, the suites versus the concierge rooms, 2 different things.
Right.
All the suites are sold. There are some accessible there. That's another thing too. It's amazing. They do have accessible suites too on the ship, which there's a couple of those that are available in case you need those. If you're interested in one of those big royals or the funnel, the Wish Tower, then we've seen those rates for the 3 and 4 nights anywhere from 27,000 to about 35,000. I did not see this myself, but somebody did tell me that they saw the maiden having one of those royals going for 54, and somebody paid it.
I'm glad someone paid it. I mean, if I'm nowhere near that rich. If I was, if I'm choosing between a Tesla or a Royal Suite, I'll probably take the Royal Suite. I love cruising that much, and I want to experience it that way.
So the biggest thing I can tell you is if you're interested in doing one of those suites that sell fast, again, they're the first to go. The moment that you see September and on release, which we're not sure when that's going to happen yet, but contact your vacation planner, hopefully Mouse Fan Travel, and put your name in so that the day it's released, we can grab it for you, because the suites are the very first to go. And the second biggest thing I can tell you is book early for the best rates.
Right.
Between day 1 and day 2, I saw rates for at least 3 of the dates go up as high as $200 to $400 per person.
And what does it take to book? Since you mentioned that, you don't have to, if you're gonna have the money, but you don't have it yet, what does it take to book?
It's usually a 20% deposit down, which outside of the suites and concierge, is fully refundable until final payment. Suites and concierge are non-refundable, but you can move the date, except for the maiden voyage, that they had really special cancellation policies there, because clearly they want to make sure that if you're going to take the space, you're going to sail on it.
Right. So if you think you want to go ahead and book it. Mm-hmm. If the finances don't work out, if you change your mind, you can always cancel right up until the final payment date. Correct. But that way you lock in the lower price, as opposed to waiting 6 months and having to pay more. So.
Exactly. That's the biggest message that I try to get through to all clients or potential clients on cruise and or Walt Disney World and or Disneyland, is that if you think you're going to go, book it, put the deposit down. You can always change it later. So I know people who are like, I'm waiting for the fall rates to release at Disney World. Don't wait. Book it. We can reduce it. The moment that a new offer comes out, we automatically apply it.
Yeah.
And
the prices can't go up, but you're not going to lose out on a lower price.
Right. And then if you find out that the finances don't work or the timing is not good for you, no problem. We can cancel it. You can get your money back within, obviously, before final payment, or we can move it to another date. So there's a lot of flexibility, but the thing you need to do is if you think you're going to go, grab it, book it, hold it, and then we adjust later. And one thing that we have, I'm going to plug me and MEI one more time, besides the fantastic vacation planners and advisors that we have in our company, we have a proprietary technology with our cruise vacations, with almost not all of the not all the cruise lines, but most all of the major ones, that when a offer comes out or the price is reduced, and sometimes revenue management in different cruise lines will just reduce prices to try to fill that particular category. Anytime that a price goes down, our systems sweep their systems, and if it says the price went down, it comes back and tells us. Our vacation advisors are immediately advised that the price dropped, so that they can proactively call in and reduce the rate for you. So we don't even have to
get on your own.
Yeah, you don't even have to worry about us looking at it or waiting for it. We're automatically told and advised that the price goes down. We adjust it, and we call you and say, "Hey, we just saved you $800 on your cruise. Do you want to upgrade to a different stateroom, or do you want to use that for another use?"
So, like I said, I can't imagine any reason why you wouldn't use the vacation planner. And one we recommend, obviously, is Mouse Fan Travel. And then you were talking about the refunds and how it gets complicated with the suite and everything. And it's just nice to have someone that's going to make sure that's all. You're not going to be left in the dark. You're not going to all of a sudden realize, oh, shoot, I just lost 20% because I didn't cancel in time. Mouse Fan is not going to let that happen.
Yeah, you've got an advocate. You've got an advocate and somebody in your corner. And again, at no additional cost to you. And for those of you who are planners, we understand that you love to do a bunch of the planning, because that's part of the fun. You can do as much or as little as you want. You can involve us as much or as little. We're here to work for you.
Okay, well, I think we've covered just about everything. I just wanted to ask before we finish up here, as a regular cruiser, What is the single thing you're most looking forward to on the Disney Wish?
There's one. I only get one.
You only get one.
Well, since I'm not staying in the funnel suite, looking at the funnel suite will be up there. But I think for me, the thing that got me most excited was that Worlds of Marvel dining experience. And I think part of it is because I don't know what it's going to be. So I don't have a rendering, and I don't know if it screens, and I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm a big Marvel fan, clearly, from everything behind me. I think that's probably the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to at this point. Now, remember, though, you know how Disney is. There's still a lot of detail they haven't told us yet.
You haven't even seen a deck plan yet.
I've seen some deck plans, but there's a lot of spaces that are blank.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's exciting to me that the stuff they've told us that we're really excited about right now is that there's so much more to come. And you got to know that there's going to be something in there that's just going to blow our minds.
They hinted at, I don't even know if hint's the right word. It could have been totally misinterpreted. But during the Q&A after the media thing, they talked about maybe some kind of an automatic drink thing that I know other ships have robot served drinks. Yeah. And I don't even drink, but I would hang out at a bar just to watch a robot serve drinks all the time. So
Royal Caribbean has an awesome couple of bartenders that, I'm going to go and spend my $7.50 on a cocktail just to watch the bartenders make it. So
right.
It would be very cool if they came up with something like that, which
I would understand if it was Thor, but it's not. It's actually a robot, and you're still going to spend the money. So
if they want to dress the robot up as Thor, I'll spend $14 on it.
Have they revealed the adult district yet for this ship?
I have not seen it.
Okay, so thank you,
If it's out there, I don't know about it yet. But
so just furthering the point that there's so much we've yet to learn about this ship. Okay. They better have a deck 4. I want to say that. I can't imagine they won't, but if they don't have a deck 4 for me to lay on, I'm not stepping foot on the ship. I'm turning around and walking off.
There's definitely some things that are placed in different places from other designs. I'm kind of reserving my judgment until I see the whole thing. So again,
deck 4 can be on deck 5, but
as long as there's one. Got it.
They have the Walt Disney Theater for performances. We didn't even get to the performances. We didn't get to the kids clubs. There's so much out there. You can find tons of information on Mouse Fan Travel's website. You can find tons of information, of course, on laughingplace.com. I'm looking forward to sailing with you, Becky.
You and I haven't sailed together since the Fantasy. It's been ages. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till we get an opportunity to be together and experience all of this in person.
It is going to be awesome.
The other thing too is if anybody has any questions, if you are on Facebook, you can private message me anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Absolutely. That name again is, wait, let me get it up there. I have a banner for this. So she's easy to find. On Facebook.
On all the socials, it's just at Becky Mahnken. Exactly spelled weird, but that's
So feel free to say it. She's so friendly. She's the CEO and founder of Mouse Fan Travel. She's also 100% accessible directly if you have questions for her. Tons of friends on Facebook. Friend her on Facebook. She's fun to follow with all her adventures and
Instagram me. That's right. That's where I'm going to start focusing next because I need to learn the Instagrams.
The gram, yeah. I'm older than you. That they don't even allow me on Instagram. Thank you again, Becky. This was a ton of fun. I could talk cruising literally all day, but I really should do my real work. So.
Yeah, I kind of understand that too. There's probably a million emails that have just come in the last hour that we've been speaking. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love talking about this as well. And as we learn more, we can certainly find an excuse to talk more.
Definitely. Oh, great. Good idea. Let's do this again. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
See you later.